Today I'm with Gemma Paige Richardson, one of the best boxers in the country and member of Team GB. Thanks a lot for doing this, Gemma, and how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Like I said, you're a member of Team GB. Big congratulations for that. What did it mean to you to make the team?
At the time, I was shocked to get on because I was only 17. So I was still part of, like, obviously England, and I was still boxing for England at the time. And I had the European Scunthorpe of England. And I remember going to a camp, and it wasn't a proper like assessment. It was just there was 3 of us that got invited. That was 17. That was like Simran, me, and Caroline. So we did a weekend with GB, and then a couple of months later, we had an email saying we're on. So I remember like my dad ringing me, and I was on a run at the time. And I was like, what's so important? Like, can it not wait till I get home from a run? And he was like, yeah, I've just had an email, like, you're on like GB. So I was so shocked at the time. I didn't expect it. It was amazing.
Now, you've been up to Sheffield at the Institute of Sport Training. What's those facilities like? And how competitive is the training when you're up there?
The facilities are the best. They've got everything there. Obviously, they've got the track. They've got so many rings, the Olympic size rings. They've got like, is it 5 rings? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5 rings. The S&C gyms, like just everything there. They've got everything that you can think of. So training there, obviously with the best people in the country as well, it's a great thing to experience and train alongside them all. And you're always learning. The coaches there are amazing. So to have them all there, you can't get really any better than that.
Not just the amateurs, you've got Anthony Joshua, who's
yeah,
facility,
yeah.
and one of my favourites, Joshua Boatsy. What's it like seeing them there?
It's amazing because obviously they're so nice, like they're genuinely nice lads as well. So I remember one of my first camps, we was doing a run and Boatsy was getting ready for a fight and we was running with him, so we was doing the same run, but obviously like a little bit different. So we was doing a shorter run because obviously the round. And I remember running and he was like just like helping me and he was like, come on, keep up with me, like stay with me. And like they're just really nice people to be around and they help you as well, like in training, just because they're pro and like obviously they're on a different journey. They're still like, you feel so part of their team as well, and it's like one big team, so it was really good.
The Team GB, especially the female squad, well the males as well, very strong squad. It's known as one of the strongest squads in the world. Very intimidating for anybody to step in and train along. How was it for you?
So for me, when I first got on, I knew a few of the girls, so I knew like Shona and that from being on England with them. But also they made me feel so welcome, make everyone feel welcome, and it's good to look up to them. Like you've got the likes of Caris and Lauren. Obviously, she's done everything. She's won the Worlds, the Commonwealths. She's been around for a long time, and Rosie Eccles. So to have them girls that have been on there for a while, they've done the experience, they've done they've been around the world doing it all, to have that scene experience, and they help you as well. Like you can look up to you, they make you feel very, very welcome there. So you're one big team, even though obviously sometimes you're competing against them, you're at the same weights as some people. You leave that in the ring, so like you spar, and obviously you want to get the better of each other, but outside you're a team at the end of the day.
I was going to say that I've interviewed a few of Team USA, and they come across a very close-knit bunch. Very close. Yeah. Team GB the same?
Yeah, so I get on with everyone. I don't think there's like, everyone gets on with everyone at the end of the day. Like you do your business inside the ring and that, but outside you're a team, so everyone gets on, like generally gets on with each other as well, which is nice.
I mentioned Team USA there, and I know you've been to 2 camps at the Americans hold in Chula Vista, and was it Colorado Springs, the other one? What was that like? Do you mix a lot with their athletes?
Yeah, so when was there, obviously we're sparring them and that, we speak to them and that. I don't think we mix too much with them. Like in the training, we'll warm up together, which is nice because you don't really do that over here. You do your own warm ups, like you get yourself ready for your sparring, you get yourself ready for the sessions. So to go over there, and they always do like a team warm up, like before sparring. So we always join in with them. So before sparring, we'll do like a 15-20 minute warm up where they'll lead it one day, and we'll do like running drills, different drills. So it's nice to be able to do that, and even like in the tech spars and that, and like after, like always after sparring, you'll speak to them and like we'll speak and get photos. So it's good, and it's good to have that different styles because obviously their styles are very different to our styles. So it's good sparring for us as well, and it is just like the camps are really good to go to.
Did you get a chance to spar with Rashida Ellis? I know she's number 3 in the world, isn't she? I think she's in the weight class.
Yeah, I sparred her when I went to Colorado, which was at the start of 2020. So in January 2020, we went to Colorado, and she was there. She went at the last camp in America that I went to. But I sparred her then. That was like my first senior like training camp, first year senior. So to spar her, who's obviously really highly ranked and got the experience, it was a good experience for me to spar her and get my rounds in with her. And she's a really good boxer.
I mean, at a very young age, you gain the best fights. I mean, Karis, to me, she should be world champion because I thought she won the semi-finals in the last tournament. You can't get better than what you're getting at a very early age, can you?
Yeah, in Sheffield, I'm sparring Karis. Like, Karis is like one of my main sparring partners. Obviously, Caroline. I've sparred Lauren, Rosie, and so I literally can't get any better sparring. Like, to spar them girls day in, day out, every week. At this age, to like running up to this tournament I've just come back from, to spar them in lead up for it, you can't get any more better preparation than that. So yeah.
Your dad was telling me that you just represented GB. Was it Bulgaria?
Hungary, yeah. Hungary, this one.
And it was your first senior bout as well, and you hadn't boxed for 18 months. So how did that go?
There was a lot of obviously new things for me. It's been 18 months since I've been out of the ring, and which was, so I was a youth at that time. So I boxed in the Youth Europeans, which was my last tournament for England, and being a youth. And obviously after that, I came out with a bad injury. I was out for like 5 months, 6 months with that. So, and then obviously I hadn't boxed because of the virus and that. So my first senior bout was supposed to be the championships, the National Amateur Championships in England. So to go from that to be in my first senior debut for GB, being in a very highly ranked tournament abroad, it was really amazing because I couldn't box better people. I was boxed some top girls out there, and obviously it was a new weight class for me, so I've never boxed at 60 kilos before. So it was all different coaches. I've never had these coaches in my corner, never been away to a tournament with GB, but it was what I needed. I needed that experience. I needed to jump at the chance of getting the offer to fight for GB, because the more fights I have now, it would be the better, because I've done so well as a youth and a junior, but as obviously being a senior is a big step up. So I need as much experience and as much tournaments as I can to get where I want to be.
Now, you started boxing at 8 years old, wasn't it? What made you go to the... I know your brother boxes, and your dad, he's your coach as well. Was it just a natural progression?
Yes, I remember my dad got my brother into kickboxing, but my brother was useless. He could not do it to save his life. So he transitioned him into boxing. And so I've been in the gym since I was 6 years old, like just after school, I used to go with them, running about, not really. So I always picked stuff up because I was in there every night since 6 years old. And I obviously picked some of the stuff up that I could do the basics, but I never took it serious. Like, I was just running around like the little annoying kid in the gym. And then at 8 years old, me and my dad sat down and he was like, right, you need to start training properly now. He wants me to do it for fitness, self-defense, all that stuff. So from 8 years old, we sat down and did it properly. And yeah, I loved it. And I wanted to follow my brother's footsteps, like watching him fight, watching him train. He was my biggest inspiration. I just wanted to be like him. So if that meant doing that,
I was going to ask you that. Was he the one you looked up to and, pushed to achieve similar things that he did?
Yeah, so like from the start, I've just wanted to be like him. Every fight he had, every time I watched him train or win a fight, I just wanted to have that feeling and be like my big brother, really, be like my big brother. And he's helped me a lot, obviously, through the years, getting up at like 5:30 in the morning before school to take me for runs, to get me ready for championships. He missed holidays with my family to stay back and train me and stuff. So he's been a big help, James.
He's just signed professional, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Right there. How proud are you of him doing that?
I'm so proud. I couldn't think. He deserves it more than anyone. Like, he trains harder than anyone knows, and I just want him to do whatever makes him happy. Obviously, he felt it was the right time to go professional, so I'm excited to see where he goes with that. I am. And
your dad is your coach. Obviously, he's been with you for years. How much credit do you think he deserves for you reaching, and your brother as well, what you're achieving?
They deserve all the credit, because if it weren't for them, I won't be a GB boxer. I wouldn't have got on to England. I wouldn't have won what I've won. I wouldn't have done anything like that without them two helping me and believing in me. And sometimes when I didn't believe in myself, because you all get them fights where you're thinking, oh, am I ready for this fight? Like when I was younger, especially, I remember going into championships thinking, am I ready for this big step up against these girls that are a year older than me? They're on England. They've made a name for themselves. Like, am I ready? And them two have believed in me when no one else has, and they've put the hard work in, and James has obviously missed stuff for himself to help me, and my dad's done the same. He's gone on night shifts and not had any sleep for 2 days, and just to take me to a camp or take me sparring across the country. So without them two, and my mum, because I think boxing gets hard, and I think if anyone says it don't get hard at times, I don't know how they're doing it, but it can get mentally hard and physically hard. So without having her there as well, I don't know what I would have done, because she's a big part of it as well. I've got a really good team around me.
Now, you as a family, my son boxed for about 13 years, so we've been through it as a family. Is it easy to switch off, when you leave the gym? Because sometimes you don't, do you? I know I was a bit of a pain at times.
When I was younger, me and my dad used to come home and sometimes argue about boxing and stuff, but now we've got it great. Like, he's like, before he was sometimes the coach outside of the gym as well, and not my dad. But now it's like he's in a coach in the gym, my dad out the gym. And obviously my mum don't really have anything to do with the boxing, which I like, because I can come home and to her, I'm just Gemma. I'm not a boxer. I'm not a GB. I'm not a European champion. I'm not a world champion. I'm not anything. I'm just Gemma. So it's nice to have that break from boxing as well, like, and just forget about it at times, because you need that as well. You need to have that break sometimes so you don't get all too much. So I've got a good mix of.
Yeah. The other thing that's vital is that you enjoy your surroundings. You're at Scunthorpe Boxing Club, aren't you? Now, what does that club mean to you and the other boxers that are in there?
Oh, I love my club. I love coming home, and I love training with my dad and my brother and the other coaches like Ryan. Just, they've always been my team from day. I was 6 years old. I've always been in that gym, and it's like a second family. Like, they are my family as well. So to come home and train with them and that atmosphere you get in the gym, it's nothing beats it. So I'm very lucky to have bested with GB and my own gym and that team.
And you have both a very strong squad that you've got there as well.
Yeah, we've got a very strong squad. We've got a good squad coming through. And obviously before the corona, we was winning. We've had a few girls and that's gone on to also win Europeans and national titles. So yeah, we're producing a good little team at the minute.
Now, I was going to ask you about two of your bouts. Your first bout, your memories of that, and when you won the World Championships, it was the youth, wasn't it, in 2018, about winning both bouts. I mean, I know you won your first one because you won your first 14, didn't you?
Yeah, so my first bout, where was my first bout? Where was that? It was in Wales. So my first bout, I remember my dad getting a text and him sitting me down and being like, right, we're going to take a team over to Wales and we've got you a fight on it. And then we took a team down, and it was we kind of like pulled off as like an England v Wales kind of thing, even though obviously it was just clubs. And I remember getting there, and I remember seeing the girl, and she was so much taller than me. I'm thinking, oh gosh. And like, I remember just being really excited, because when I was younger, I didn't really understand boxing. Like, I remember going to my first nationals, and I didn't understand what the nationals was. I didn't understand what I was fighting for. I didn't really get it. So I was really excited. I wasn't that nervous. I was really excited to get in there and like having my hand raised and winning. I was just looking out and like seeing my brother and seeing my dad. I was just so happy, and it was just really good. And going to Wales for it as well, that was cool. And then the World Championships, that was an unreal experience, an unreal moment that didn't sink in.
Did you feel the pressure? Did the occasion? It obviously didn't get you. You won, but did you feel?
Yeah. So like, this was my first obviously World Championships. I haven't been to one. I remember I went to the Europeans every year, so I've been to 3 or 4 Europeans at the time. I went to the World, and before that I was thinking it's all right. I'm just gonna treat it as like a Europeans. Like, it'll be no different. I'll just treat it as like I'll be fine. I remember getting there, and I remember, just walking around and seeing like China there and Australia there and all these different countries there that are not obviously at the Europeans. I was thinking, And like seeing the arena and that, like it was held in, I think. And I remember just being nervous. I remember sitting down, speaking to some of the teammates, thinking, this is a completely different, like, this is a big step up, like we're at the Worlds. So I think I was like that until my first fight. And like, I think after the first fight, you slowly get you ease into the competition a bit. It's after that first fight gets out of the way. But yeah, I definitely felt the pressure with the Worlds because it was just such a step up from what I've ever done before. And I met like the other favourite in the final. So I met India in the final, which I think it was between me and her to be favourite for the whole competition. And she was a really good girl. And she just hit so hard as well. Like I remember in the fight getting hit, and I was like, oh my! Like she hit hard, and she was an awkward style. She was. So to get the win against her and to perform good against her, it was just, and getting my hand raised for that, there was not a feeling like it.
Now, to reach those levels, it is important to have people like your dad and your mum and your brother and the teammates supporting you. But I know one of your role models is a girl that keeps coming up when I interview other girls, and that's Stacey Copeland. What is it about Stacey? I mean, I don't know Stacey. I've interviewed her and I saw her first fight. But what is it about Stacey that everybody keeps mentioning?
Stacey's just a woman that like ever since you just need that role model, I think, and she is that role model. She is the perfect role model you want to grow up following. I remember, because when I was young, obviously I was 6 years old, 8 years old, growing up, there wasn't many females in the sport. I think it wasn't until 2012 really when females really started to pick up in boxing. So I was always the only girl in the gym, and I went through a stage where I was training just as hard as the lads, but I wasn't fighting because there was no girls for me to fight. And I remember just thinking, like, why is it like this? Like, I was the only girl in the gym. We went sparring. I'd be the only girl sparring boys. And I remember my dad coming in once going, and speaking about Stacey, and I remember watching, we put the live stream on for Haringey, and she was in the Haringey, and we watched her and she won it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, there's other girls out there doing it as well. And she's older than me, and she's done all this, like, hearing her achievements. I was like, because I didn't know anything like that. I was only young at the time. And I remember Dad arranging for her to come down, and she drove all the way down to my gym, brought her belts with her that she'd won, and she showed me them, and she did a session with me, and she really put like a lot of time into me, even though I was just like this random little girl that she didn't know. But she took her time out of her day that she had to do, she didn't pay her, she just came free, just wanted to come and speak to me. And she gave me a world championship top that she got from, I think, China when she went to the world. And she was like, you'll get your own one day. And ever since that day, she took me under her wing. So she took me sparring. We went to Ricky Hatton's gym to spar her. She took me everywhere. She took me to Ireland, just me on my own, just me and her went for a training camp. She used to message me for, obviously, my first Europeans. It was all new to me. I was nervous. She messaged me. She'd been through it all. So she just was always there for me. And I think what she was doing was paved the way for females. She's helping females through the sport and females in general. And she's just the biggest. If I could be anything like, I'd love to be what she was for me, for other girls, because I know what it felt like to have no other girls. So she was a big help.
It seems like you're carrying it on, Gemma, because I've seen you being interviewed by your dad where you say you're going to clubs now and teaching girls and trying to pass it on that way.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think, because I know what it felt like to have no one, and I also know what it felt like when Stacey came into my life and Stacey brought her national belt. And I was just looking, I got a photo somewhere and someone's caught it when I was looking at this belt, and I was just in awe of this belt. And I was like, and it just felt like a celebrity was there, like, kind of thing. Like, and it's weird saying that about Stacey now, because obviously me and Stacey are really good mates. She's like family. So to say that now, but at the time it was like, oh my God, she's come all this way. Like, she's like the big thing. So if I can help other females in the sport, just feel like that, and feel like when she came and did pads with me, like I was learning from her and she was just helping me. If I can make other females feel like that and know that there's other people in the sport that came from the same background as them, came from where there was nobody there for them, and just help, then I want to do that all the way. I want to help. Yeah, I want to carry on what Stacey's doing.
Now, how do you think, my daughter's, I think she's a year, maybe 2 years older than you, Gemma, and I've seen her friends and school, and how do you think boxing can help? Because we know now a lot of teenagers struggle with the mental health. How can boxing help in that way?
I think boxing helps in so many ways. So in boxing, obviously, there's so many people from different backgrounds. You can have everyone there from different backgrounds, and you don't get judged. But you come into a boxing gym, and people think boxing gyms are the most daunting places, which you do. You think, if you're not a boxer, you think boxing, that's scary. There's gonna be big men there. But it's not. I think they're the most welcoming places, and just training, even if you don't want to fight, just training, it takes your mind off everything. You learn discipline, you learn everything like that. And it just takes your mind, and it's just while you're in there for that gym for an hour and a half or whatever the training session is, you just forget about everything. And it's like a release from the other, like the world, I guess, and real life. So it helps a lot.
Now, at your level, going to the top level, the commitment is unbelievable. It has to take over your life, basically, doesn't it? How hard do you find that? Because I know most boxers do struggle with eating right, going to the gym all the time.
The main one for me is the eating, the dieting you have to do. It's just so hard, but it's worth it. So obviously, I've always been used to going to the gym every day. Like, even since I was young, I never really went out with my mates to parties. I never did that being a teenager. Growing up, I never went to the park or after school and just stayed there all day and all night. I never went to parties. I gave up all that for boxing. I was always in the gym with my brother, with my dad, with everyone. But it's hard. The training changes when you get to that level. The stuff you got to put your body through, it can be hard. And getting up in the morning, I remember getting up when I was like 15, getting up at 5:30 in the morning. I used to think, like, you did have days where it's like, is it worth getting up at 5:30 in the morning to train, to go all day to school, then to come home and train again, and to eat the food you got to eat, like salads and chicken and veg, while your mates are there eating pizzas and chocolate and stuff. But it's worth it, because there's no better feeling it than winning or getting that medal around your neck or representing your country, like going out there with like an England badge on you. There's no better feeling. And I think for me, I've always said, when I started, that 6-year-old, she had a dream. That 8-year-old, she had a dream. So I'll always do it. Like, I've come this far, and it's all worth it to get there. Yeah.
And what are your goals, Gemma? I presume it's national title first. That's your aim. And the Olympics will only be, the next one will only be 3 years off now, won't it? Is that your aim, and then possibly turning pro?
Yeah, so I've won a lot of things as a junior and youth officer. I've won 5 nationals. I've won the Europeans. I've won the world. But for me, I've always wanted to do that as a senior. I think it's all right winning it as a junior and youth, but a big step up is winning that as a senior. It's a massive thing. So I'd love to win the nationals, the Europeans, the Commonwealths, Worlds, obviously the big ones, the Olympics. I'd love to win all of them as a senior, hopefully, fingers crossed, if I can make it. I'd love that. And then in the future, yeah, go into the professional scene and see what I can do there, and try and work my way up for that, and see if I can win any titles in the professional ranks as well.
Perfect world, dream scenario, where would you and James fight as a professional? Which stadium would you fancy?
Well, James has always said he wants to fight, because we're big Leeds fans in my family. So he'd want to fight, what's our stadium called? Ellen Road. So I think if me and James could both be on that show together in Ellen Road, that'd be it for my family. They'd love that.
Josh Warrington will be retired by then, so
yeah. That's our big. James has always wanted that, so I'd love to be there with him. Both of us on a show there.
Last question, Gemma. You're quite a funny one, because I've heard you talk about boxing. You're not really a fan of watching it, are you? But there's something obviously that's got you addicted to this sport. What is it that you love about it?
I love the training. When I was younger, I used to look into the gym. I love the training, even though the training's hard, and like being with a team, like it was just fun. I found it so fun, and sparring, and just, I don't know, yeah, just being in the ring, I find so fun. But it's just watching it. I'm just not a fan. I just don't get it. I don't get why it's fun to watch two people hit each other, but doing it is really fun. Like, I love hitting people, and I don't really like being hit, I guess, but it's just fun. Well,
you've obviously got a serious competitive streak, and you've got a fantastic amateur record. Where is it now?
It's 46, 144.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I really appreciate your time. Thanks very much, and all the best with Team GB.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.